Hi Sean, how are you? Well, I worked in the background to practice and set up the car. Mo is in the spotlight and has been very busy with promotional work, so it all comes down to practice really, and I'm sure Mo will catch up soon enough. No, there hasn't been much communication between factory and green team. Obviously we share the same sponsor but operate independently. No, not that I'm aware of anyway. Well, we got last season's L4 setup from Aspen, but since these have been leaked to the forum as well, we didn't get any advantage from it, unfortunately. Thank you Sean, talk to you later.
Hi Sean, thanks for having me in this episode of Driver Spotlight. Suzuka, well, it was an intense, long race which I enjoyed every lap. Started 15th, lost I think 3 places in the first lap going into Spoon due to an instability of my car. And from then on I fought and battled very intense and hard with Benjamin Schroeder. We were, I think, at most maybe 3-4 seconds separated from each other. He made a couple of mistakes, I made a couple of mistakes. Very fair and intense battle. I was very disappointed because we were fighting for 12th place, the last point. I was very disappointed. I lost the car 3 laps from the end. But I continued, and Benjamin made an error, I think, in the penultimate lap. So I got to, at this time I was lucky, and I got to come home with my first point for this season. Well, Sean, I'm not sure if it was the correct decision to run the race on the buggy Suzuka, well, at least in that specific build. I was having lots of issues during qualifying. Well, the couple of laps I could practice for qualifying. Although I was driving all alone on the circuit, it felt very laggy, twitchy, and I had the feeling I wasn't in control and that the car wasn't running as smooth, at least the game wasn't running as smooth as it should be. In the race, thankfully, I didn't have that much of, that many issues concerning the buggy track. I was afraid before the race. I was afraid that it might screw up the race, but thankfully it didn't. That's my opinion. Well, Sean, at the moment Neville is definitely a little bit faster than I am. One thing's for sure, I don't like that. I'm very competitive. I think I'm a very good team player. I always help and support my teammates in every aspect I can do, but I'm also that competitive that my biggest competitor is always my teammate, and I always want to improve and be preferably a little bit faster than my teammate. The first 2 races I didn't succeed in that. Never was just too fast. Faster than I was. Suzuka, the gap was smaller than in Belgium, and seeing that for Suzuka I had only I think a couple of laps practice, that gives me confidence for the upcoming races. I think the following 3 races will be crucial to see if I can catch up with Neville and maybe even go past him. Connecticut Hill, I think we can be close. Derby is one of the tracks that I hope I can beat him, although he's very good at that track. But in last season's race, I finished in front of him, if I'm correct. Moravia is also a circuit I like. Well, Laguna Seca, I just don't like that circuit, so I hope I can keep the pace up with him. And well, we're finishing in Baden-Ring, and well, that's also a circuit that we can both be fast on. Well, next race will be on Watkins Glen. Well, I don't have good memories of that track from last season. I didn't finish that race. My car crashed, and I didn't have the reset button, so I couldn't reset it and continue the race. In the end, I lost, I think, in the beginning 4 or 5 laps before the car did auto reset, and I continued the race. I think Watkins Glen will suit the L4 well, quite well, so I think the L4s can be well a little bit more competitive on that track. I'll just just the track that we're going to see how the results will be. I will do everything in my power to at least score points. That's definitely my goal, and hope to finish around 10th place. Well, I definitely think the Palmers have the dominant edge this season, and I expect them to have the advantage during the rest of the season. I'm happy that the gap with the L4s isn't as big as it was with the Caterhams and the L4s in the last season. We will have a couple of tracks, and I think Derby and Moravia, which will suit the L4s a little more. But in terms of speed, the L4s just can't match the Palmers. The difference in corners isn't that big, although in corners I think the L4s are still in having an advantage. That's why I think Moravia and Derby will be more suited to the L4. But that's the way. That's the way it is this season, and I think L4s will continue battling for points. But I don't expect at the end of the season an L4 will win the championship, or at least the L4 driver. When if it's going to continue like this. Well, Sean, that question put a smile on my face. I'm a positive person. I always see things on the positive side. I always see possibilities and not impossibilities. If I'm slower than Neville, I don't see the fact that I'm 3 tenths slower than Neville. I see a possibility to improve 4 tenths. Sadly, I don't succeed a lot in that, or at least a lot, not always in that. But that's how I maintain the positive, approach on things. On the other hand, looking at project cars, the state of this project is better, and it's just awesome. Looking at all the effort that Hans put in the WSPSC, that you put in all this, well, in my view, a professional approach of interviewing drivers, making pre-race documentaries, well, that makes me that gives me an even stronger positive feeling. Seeing and experiencing the intense battles with Benjamin in Suzuka and in Spa. How can't I be positive about that? What I also think is important is I also think it's important to express that, and that's what I do. When I and I think my personality is very simple. When I express it, I really mean that. It's not that I just, when I type a reaction, it's like, okay, it's just a reaction. I really mean that. When I say thanks, Sean, for the great pre-race show. I really mean that, because I understand that for you and for all the other guys, it also takes a lot of effort and time, and we're all willing to do that. In the end, for having a great season, having great races, actually having a great overall experience. How can't I be positive about that show?